So most of the Gedolei Adoros, both those that supported the Simcha and both those that came out against it, assumed that the Simcha Lag BaOmer is because it's the yortzeit of Reb Shimon. But we find many other reasons for the Simcha of Lag BaOmer. Siman Tov Tzad Gimel Shulchan Aruch, we find that the plague was over Lag BaOmer. And that is why it's a Yom Simcha. It has nothing to do with Reb Shimon. It has to do with Reb Akiva, 24,000 Talmidim that perished, and Rabbi Stein Shebedurim that survived. But I want to share with you a totally different approach to Lag BaOmer. And the Chassam Sofer actually alludes to this. This is an amazing tshuva written very bekitzer with big chidushim. So he quotes Rabbi Yankov Emden. Let me just find it. He quotes Rabbi Yankov Emden. What is unique about Lag BaOmer? Ubesidur Hayavitz. 7 lines from the top. Tame Gufei Lo Yodana. I don't know what's the simcha. Ubesidur Hayavitz. Kosav Alpinistar. Da'ave kebezen shekiloi chayiv v'have zakai. Dahainu hoid shebahoid. Ayin sham. Rabbi Yankov Emden in a Siddur writes, Lag BaOmer is an awful day of Midas Adin. It's the harshest Midas Adin. And if it's so bad, it's got to be good. Sanhedrin Daf Yud Zayin, the Gemara says, when a Beis Din Shalchov Gimel is dan din nefoshes, and all the 23 Dayonim agree that this person should be put to death, either skil or slave or hereg or cherek, and not even one Dayan could see a reason for leniency, poitre moisoi, we send him home, and he's not punished. It's not the right format right now to go into halachic discussion. How do we understand this halacha? But the Rebbe Yankov Emden talks b'derech Kabbalah. Just like when the verdict is so harsh, not even one dayan could see a reason for leniency. Everybody says this person is a Rasha and he should be put to death. Then we say, no, it can't be that bad. And when things get so bad, they need to be good. So Rabbi Yankov Emden says, Lag BaOmer is such a harsh day of Midas Adin, it's got to be good. And that's why we dance and sing. Is anybody familiar with the Sefer Tzroyer HaMoyer? Today I'm giving you some hard questions. Tzroyer HaMoyer goes back almost 400 years at Rabbi Avram Saba. I think he was one of the Gedolim in Italy, primary Mekubal. In Parshas Emor, he writes the same thought, and he speaks about a Tolam Telam. Besoy Galav ato tishabreim. Galov is Gimalamed, it's a remez of Lag BaOmer. So when there's a turbulent sea, and there are awful swells and waves, and in Lashon Kodesh, agal nishbar, the wave breaks. I don't know whether that expression is used in English as well. So he says, B'soy galav, ato teshabreim. So when the galim, when the waves and the swells are so bad, Kodesh Baruch Hu breaks them. And B'soy galav, gal is a remez of Lag BaOmer. Lag BaOmer things get so bad that a Kodesh Baruch Hu must intervene. And Midas Adin breaks. And Rachmim takes over. So in Shara Kavonos Drush Yud Beis, I want to share with you some interesting thoughts. The Riyah Kodesh says, Elokim is the Shem of Midas Adin. Everybody's familiar with that. Yud Kevov Kei is Rachamim, Elokim is Din. When Din is transformed into Rachamim, Elokim is transformed into Hashem Achdatam. the three inner letters, Lamed Hayud, move back. The Lamed becomes a Chaf, the Hey becomes a Daled, the Yud becomes a Tes. Elohim is transformed into Achdatam. So the Ri says the three middle letters that transformed into Rachamim are Begematria Lamed Gimel. Chaf, Daled, 24 plus 9, 33. Achdatam is Begematria 74. And that is Eid Hagal Hazeh. Eid is 74, Achdatam, Gal is 33. The inner three letters that transformed him into Rachamim. And I add on to the Ari, Zeh is 12. And that is the numerical difference between Elokim and Achdatam. So Eid Hagal Hazeh is a remez to the transformation of Midas Adin into Midas Arachamim. V'Yankov Koroloi Gal Eid. Gal Eid is Achdatam, is the Eid, and the Gal is Lag Ba'omer. That is when Elokim becomes Achdatam. These three letters, and this is also my addition, Chof Dalates are the Rosh Tevis of Ki Toivim Doidecha. Yishukeinu min Ashikas Piyu, Ki Toivim Doidecha Miyayin. Shira Shirim is the ultimate sefer of Ahava and Rachamim and Chemla. Hasidim say a whole bunch of things after Sfiras Uoimar. You say it in yeshiva? Don't know whether it's a Hasidish yeshiva or a Litvish yeshiva. The Rosh Yeshiva is a descendant of the greatest Hasidish Rabbeim. So, we say, Lamanatseach ben Aginois. Why do we choose this Perek and Tillim out of all the 150 prokim? It has exactly 49 words, coinciding with 49 days of Sfira. Could that be the reason we choose this Perek and Tehillim? Of course not. There must be some pnimius. 49 words in this Perek. If you count, number 33 is Elokim. Yedicho Amem Elokim. Elokim is Lag Boima. That is Midas Adin. And Midas Adin is so harsh, so bad, Kodesh Baruch Hu turns it into Rachamim. And that is when Elokim turns into Achdatam. So the Chiddush in Rabbi Yankov Emden and the Ari is that Lag Boima is a wonderful day, not because wonderful things happened in this day. It's the other way around. Because this is such a special day, that is why so many remarkable events happened in this day. So that's the day Reb Shimon Ola B'Sar Shemaimim. That is the day Posco Amegefa. That is the day in which Reb Shimon started teaching Torah to Rabbi Seinu Shebedorim. So it's not a day to rejoice because wonderful events happened in that day. The reason these events happened in that day is because all the Yemei Sfira, this is the day in which Din is transformed to Rachamim. Ramban ala Torah, Parshas V'Zoysa Brocha, and the Pasuk, Mi Yaminoi Eish Das Lamoi, the Ramban writes, there's a contradiction in this Pasuk. Yamin and Small, what's your guess? Which is Din and which is Rachamim? Yamin and Small. Small Doicha, Yamin Mekareves. Small is Din, Yamin is Rachamim. Eish V'Mayim, this is a tougher guess. Which is Din, which is Rachamim? Fire and water. Mayim is Rachamim. Good guess. So the Ramban says, so how does Yamin go together with Eish? Why would it be Miyaminoi, Eish Das Lamoi? The Ramban writes, Yesh bezeh soid godol, shemidas adin klula barachamim. In Pnimius, Din is always Rachamim. And that is why I feel, how is Elokim transformed to Rachamim? Not the Aleph, not the Mem, the Pnimius, the three letters that are Oisius Pnimios. They're the ones that transformed into Rachamim. in Sidur Hagra, Kedusha de Sidra. Anybody know what is Kedusha de Sidra? You happen to answer all my questions. I assume it's just because you're closest to me. Probably all the others know as well. In Kedusha de Sidra, on the Posek, Begvuris Yesha Yaminoi, the Goan says, Yamin is Rachamim. Gevuris is Din. The greatest Rachamim are when Din inspires Rachamim. The greatest Midas Rachamim are the Rachamim Sheyoytzim Etorich Adinim. And that is why we say Mechalkel Chayim Bechesed and Berches HaGvuros, because Begvuros Yesha Yaminoi. So that happens on Lag BaOmer. The greatest Rachamim are when Elokim is transformed and Midas Adin is Mashpia Rachamim. And that happens every year on Lag BaOmer. So hundreds of thousands of Yidden go every year to Meron. This year, it'll be impossible. Ma'orei Naim, I think the Rashiv is an anacle of the Ma'orei Naim. Ma'orei Naim, at the end of the Sefer, there's a kuntras, I think it's called Yismach Leiv, Amesechtes. Shabbos Lamed Gimel, he writes, if you can't be at the kever, learn Reb Shimon's Torah. And when you learn his Torah, it is as if you're at the kever and your tefillas on his gabel. I would suggest, I don't give eitzes to the Rosh Hashiva in public, but I think Lag BaOmer, you should learn in yeshiva, Brich Shemei, and Kigavno. These are two short prokem in the Zohar that we constantly say. 3 times a week we say Brich Shemei. Once a week we say Kigavno. It's an Inyan Godel to learn Zohar Lag BaOmer. And I think it would enhance your tefillas. When you say Kigavno, when you say Brich Shemei, you know what you're talking about. And Lag BaOmer is a Sgula Gedola to learn Reb Shimon's Torah. The Sefer Hasidim writes that whenever we quote Divrei Torah from one of the great Gedolim, that Godel davens for us up there in Gan Eden. Maybe that's why I like to quote a lot of sources in my shiurim, because I need a lot of tefillas and a lot of brachas, and I hope all those Gedolim will do something for me. We should be able for many years to keep on Lahagdul Torah Uladina. So this year, if we're not going to Lag BaOmer, we're going to learn Reb Shimon's Torah, and let us hope that Midas Adin will be Nefach L'Rachamim, because this is definitely a period of Midas Adin, terrible Midas Adin. So the past Friday, I had an amazing experience together with the Rosh Hashiva. We went to visit a young soldier. I'm not mentioning his name because, this is very private. We went to visit a young soldier that we both know. Soldier that lost both legs and an arm in this terrible war. We visited this young soldier. He asked me some questions. One would imagine, what would he ask you? Why do I deserve this? Tzadik v'ra'aloi. No. He asked me one question about Hanochas Tefillin. He just has part of his right arm. Is that now Yad Keho? So on which arm does he put on Tefillin? And then he wants to know, he has very limited use of what was left of his right arm. Does he need to do Netilas Yadayim? And I lift my eyes to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and I say, Rabbeinu Shalom, Mikam Chi Yisrael. Mikam Chi Yisrael. If this young soldier, Chas v'Shalom, would become an apikoiris, no one could judge him. Al todnas chaveich ad shetagier em koimai. No. What troubles him is Hanochas Tefillin, Netilas Yadayim, Netilas Lulav, Mikam Chi Yisrael. So we daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Rabbeinu Shalom. Who knows? Maybe it's enough. Enough tsar, enough pain, enough suffering, and maybe time has come. We should see Nisim and Yeshuas. So maybe this wonderful day of Lag BaOmer, which has a special zgila that Midas Adin is Nefach L'Rachamim, she'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yerachem Oleinu. We should only be Zoichet Urachami Shemayim. And the schus of the Tana Hu Eloki, Reb Shimon Bar Yochai. Reb Shimon Bar Yochai said, Yochanan lifted us kol oilem min adin. Kadosh Baruch Hu take away Midas Adin. So Reb Shimon, let's see. Prove it. You said Yochanan lifted us kol oilem min adin. So Kadosh Baruch Hu lifted us kol Am Yisrael min adin. And Midas Adin should be Nefach L'Rachamim, and we should only hear B'Soides Toivos, Yeshuas v'Nachomes, v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu Yishlach Lanu Mashiach Tzidkenu, B'Meiro v'Yomeinu, Amen.